Hello everyone, welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And the Sharks have just been handed a lesson by the Glasgow Warriors, going down 35 points to 24 after a really poor start and a brilliant start from Glasgow Warriors. Put the Sharks in a position where they could just unfortunately never turn it around. And look, the Sharks got a lot better throughout the game, but just discipline and starting slowly was just the biggest sort of issue with the side from Durban, who lost their second game in a row, getting no points out of the game, as well as the South African sides continue to struggle in the URC, and getting quite frustrating to see the extent and how easy it's becoming for the other opposition to sort of beat the South African sides. But I thought that this game was a very impressive second half performance from the Sharks, who really just sort of come in and have a bit of a go late in the game, but just a couple of basic areas, and you can just see that they're not a side which can't compete at the moment. In terms of how the game went along, early try in the first minute, literally from kickoff, leaving it space out wide, early ball there, Rufus McLean tore down the wing, put them under a lot of pressure for Curran Bosch. Poor kick, get them all, boom, over in the first minute, conversion in the second. Dylan Richardson then gets sent off in the 12th minute, which didn't help matters at all, with Glasgow going over once again in the 14th minute. Through Ryan Wilson, another conversion being added, and then in the 20th minute, Jamie Barty going over conversion as well. So, they were down to 21-0 after 20 minutes, and you're thinking at 21-0, this could get very ugly. But they did manage to sort of fight back with Leroux Roots getting over in this 24th minute. And it was a case of when the Sharks had ball in hand, they looked pretty good. When they were playing direct, when they were being physical, they looked pretty good. They just didn't do enough, in my opinion. But the problem is they scored a try, and suddenly 21-7, you're thinking if you can get a try again, that would be quite decent. But then Glasgow scoring just before halftime through Cole Forbes, a very nicely worked try. The offload game from Glasgow is very impressive, and we saw a very nice try being scored in the second half as well. So Sharks were up against it, and what I couldn't understand is just before halftime, taking a 3 points, where you're sitting there like 20 points down and you're taking 3 points to try and get, I don't understand what the logic was. And immediately after half time, a really positive start. And once again, going for 3 points to make it, I think it was like 28-10 or something. And then Curran Bosch missed it anyway. It would have made it 28-13. Now, what's the point? I don't understand that. So decision making, quite questionable from the Sharks at times. Thomas Latoya went over, Glasgow went over in the 23rd minute with the conversion being added before Thomas Latoya hit back in the 56th minute. Curran Bosch adding the conversion. Lewis Bean was then sent off. The Sharks then kind of camped in the Glasgow heart, but couldn't really sort of find any reward. But Lewis Bean was had a card in the 72nd minute, a very nicely worked off the back of the lineup move from Sharks. Very good continuity, couple pick up and goes. And then Tuka Mkuna went over in the 73rd, and Ruben Pino converting it. And unfortunately, they had an opportunity later in the game with a line out, but losing the line out and not being able to capitalize and get themselves that bonus point try, as well as get them without 7, which would have given them 2 points. Glasgow, very impressive outfit. You can see a blueprint there. You can see a very good attacking team who found space very easy. The offload game was fantastic. They did very well to go left to right. Their backline direct havoc. I thought, Sam Johnson was the official man of the match, but I thought Ross Thompson put in a very assured performance for a 22-year-old fly half. George Horn was very impressive. Jack Dempsey at the back of the scrum. It was a very polished performance by Glasgow, who had pretty much won the game by the 20th minute. In terms of some of the stats, the stats point to a pretty even game, with Glasgow having 55% to Sharks, 45% of possession, but Glasgow beating 8 defenders to Sharks 3. That was sort of a major sort of turning point. And also Sharks missing far too many tackles. 18 tackles missed of 174 made. They'd have to make a lot of tackles. In comparison, Glasgow missing just 3 tackles throughout the match and winning 8 turnovers to the Sharks 5. The breakdown was pretty consistent, but Glasgow were probably a little bit better. Malls were also pretty important for both sides. And the lines, Sharks lost 4 lineouts. So, you've got to try and hit just set piece. Their scrums were very good today. And one of a very important scrum penalty towards the end of the game. But you've got to try and improve those lineouts. South African sides need to target set pieces. That's where we've always been particularly strong. Discipline-wise for the Sharks, frustrating penalties to give away. I think, they gave away 9 to Glasgow's 12, but they look at the type of penalties they're giving away and just be a little bit frustrated at the fact that just when they were getting momentum, they just couldn't really convert. Some very impressive performances today. Sam Johnson made 30 meters across 4 carries. Bruce McLean made 7 carries. 12 carries from Jack Dempsey. He was massive today, beating 2 defenders as well. For the Sharks, the big carriers were Dylan Richardson with 9 carries, Ruben van Heerden with 7. Percy Buthelezi made 4. And defensively on both sides, it was a big, big game from Thomas Gordon on the number 7 jumper. 10 tackles made by him, just 1 miss, but 2 turnovers won. Ryan Wilson also not missing a single tackle and winning 2 turnovers. Ross Thompson at the number 10 making 10 tackles. For the Sharks, Pesi Buthelezi made a whopping 19 tackles and didn't miss a single one, according to Rugby Pass. Dylan Richardson with 16 tackles, for Brant Krobbe with 14. So that loose trio putting a lot of effort in. And then Ruben van Heerden making 20 tackles as well, also not missing a single one. So a pretty impressive defensive effort from the pack. But, Buddha Chamberlain missing 3 tackles, Werner Koch missing 5 tackles, Penkler missing 2 tackles. The back line let the Sharks pack down today. And back to drawing board for the Sharks. Let me know what you thought of the game down in the comments below. Do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you guys soon.